This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla in the 3D Security and Training Academy studios.
Arizona conservatives are lucky to have Congressman Paul Gosar fighting for us in Washington. We need leaders who put our conservative principles into action.
Dr. Paul Gosar, endorsed by Governor Sarah Palin yet again as he runs for another term in Congress. Representative Gosar is here today to talk about the importance of Tuesday's big election, amnesty, guns, and much more. Tuesday is Election Day, and we'll run down the list of candidates backed by Governor Palin. A brand new Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimson is coming up from Virginia, and just ahead our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman of Missouri. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. The Palin Update is sponsored by 3D Security and Training Academy. Learn more at 3dsta.com. Right now, we are joined by our friend, Dr. Paul Gosar, a congressman from Arizona and a favorite of Governor Palin. Representative Paul Gosar from the 4th District in Arizona, welcome back to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. How are you, Doctor?
I'm doing wonderful, Kevin. Thanks for calling.
Thanks so much for being here with us again. You know, we talked to you back a few years ago when you were initially endorsed for your first run in 2010 the first time around?
Yep.
And then endorsed again by Sarah Palin, and now here we go again. So, you know, people talk about Ted Cruz all the time as that guy in the Senate, the one that everybody on the Tea Party and the common sense conservative side can say we really can trust, because a lot of these other folks, you know, you say, oh, well on this, well on that. I'm telling you what, you're becoming that guy in the House, you know, not just from my standpoint, from Governor Palin's standpoint, but when you talk to people, like-minded folks and common sense folks, you just haven't seemed to let anyone down. And it's rare to get an endorsement from Governor Palin this many times, but here we go again.
I'm humbled that she would give it again. She represents what's right about America. You know, we've got to hold the line and get back to common sense and holding people accountable. So it's wonderful to have that endorsement.
Well, you've certainly done that, and in true Palin style, not just with the far left and Democrats, but also you've gone up against the GOP establishment and, have called them out on things like amnesty and big issues that we're looking at right now. And boy, have we really seen some of the negative effects of what could happen when it comes to open borders. And now we're starting to pay the price for that. So hopefully people are listening a little more, and hopefully you can get those reinforcements, as the governor put it, to help you to stop things like this and to make sure amnesty doesn't become a full reality here in America.
Absolutely, Kevin. What we need is we need a House that has leadership that is accountable to the American public, that has a vision, because if we do get the Senate, the House will still be the battering ram, and we need to pass budgets. We need to starve the beast in regards to things that are unconstitutional and implicitly not permitted by Congress, and then we need to make sure that the president is held to his constitutional duties, and that means that we need to hold an attorney general accountable, and his replacement it needs to be somebody that upholds the Constitution and the rule of law, not serving the president.
Well, people certainly are talking about the Senate. I mean, that's been the big news story from a political standpoint over this last year and a half about will Republicans take over the Senate. I'd like to see conservatives take over the Senate, but you know what we mean there. But as you are running here again for Congress, for the House, just paint a picture for us. What's the difference here if we turn the page in 2015 and have a GOP-controlled Senate and also a stronger House? What is the difference to that compared to if you weaken the House and have a 50-50 split or a Democrat Senate?
Well, I mean, we haven't been able to pass a budget for six years now, Kevin, and the power of the purse is one of the true blessings that has been bestowed to Congress. They start in the House as appropriations and taxes do, and now we have somebody that will pick them up and take them up, and we have to be creative in regards to how do we put these into place, dictating where the money goes and where it doesn't go and what they can use it for and not use it for. So that's going to be a huge difference. Number two is actually putting policy on the table that's going to make people vote. America, like you brought up an issue earlier on amnesty. America doesn't want amnesty. What they want is an immigration system that upholds the rule of law. A legal entry, fine, but we have to uphold the rule of law in making sure that we, as Americans, are placed first and are protected beyond all measure. So we'll be able to now get people to have to vote on policy measures that are near and dear to people's well-being.
You're endorsed not only by Sarah Palin, but by the NRA and the GOA, so I think that spells out where you stand on our Second Amendment. But let's talk to folks about that, because this president and, a lot of his friends in the Senate and in Congress, not only have they, tried to open our borders and tried to mess with health care, but, boy, have they gone after guns. And, this is a right. And they just don't understand. You still hear people like the governor of New York thinking it's about hunting. So, tell us a little bit about where a common sense person like yourself stands on guns.
The Second Amendment may be the most important amendment because it protects all the rest of the amendments. It gives you the power to hold a government accountable. They are a right to make sure that the government doesn't tread on me and doesn't enforce unjust laws against us. And we've seen this from within administrative orders, where we saw all imports, Kevin, that used to go through the State Department, now go through the Department of Justice, and we know where Eric Holder sits on that. We've seen the debilitating aspects of trying to place more gun control laws throughout the states and implicitly try to force them through the Senate. Even look at what transpired with our First Amendment, with Harry Reid and the Senate Democrats trying to force a closure of our rights on the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. So it's imperative that we keep our Second Amendment there. And we just saw some great news from a federal judge, being able to carry our Second Amendment in lands that are controlled by the Army Corps of Engineers, something that I've been placing amendments to make sure that we close that loophole. And they found it unconstitutional that the government would restrict any type of gun usage or carry process on those lands. So we've got to be due diligence on all those aspects.
People are still struggling with the economy, with jobs. It's not talked about as much right now because there's other issues that people are, seeing on the front pages. But, when I'm sure when you talk to constituents or people across this your state and across the country, it's still folks want to be able to do with their paycheck what they see fit. And I really like your approach and what you've talked about with taxes. You talk about those great things that have built this country, like free enterprise, small business, and my favorite, community involvement. This is what it should be about, not the government telling you where everything should go. So where are we looking at from a fiscal standpoint with Paul Gosar back in Congress?
Well, the thing that we have to first do is allow the mantra that government doesn't create jobs. They create an environment for us to prosper and to invest in jobs. The private sector does. There's jobs that come at the end in the service industry in regards to safety, like police and fire departments. But the government's got to get out of the way. The rules and regulations are killing America. They're picking winners and losers, and that's exactly what this president said he was going to do, was transform America, where the government dictates everything in every part of your life. And what we need to do is we need to turn that American engine loose by restricting and changing the tax code, taking it lower, making it more fair, making sure that you get to keep more in your tax or in your paycheck than the federal government, because we don't have a taxing problem. We have a spending problem in Washington, D.C. So anywhere we can find and restrict government and empower individuals, that's the American dream, and that's what made this country great.
Yeah, and that's that divisiveness again, too, that we've seen from this administration. You just put it as winners and losers, but, that's that class warfare that he's also done when it comes to, men and women, gay and straight, Christian and non-Christian. Every aspect of our lives, he's trying to get us to get at each other's throats, and in some stretches it's been working, unfortunately. So, these are common sense solutions, folks, that you hear the congressman talking about right now. Obamacare, I know you have a special view on that, being a dentist yourself. When I've talked to Governor Palin has endorsed a lot of folks in the medical community. We've talked to doctors, veterinarians, and yourself, a dentist, from all different walks. So what have you seen from your profession of why Obamacare is not the way to go?
Well, we were promised that we could keep our doctor. We were able to We were told that we were told that we could keep our insurance, and it would be cheaper. And we've seen none of the three. And so we need to come to the table with an idea. And I'm one of the members from the House that put forward and penned an alternative to Obamacare that instills the competitive nature, making sure that we have insurance companies competing for our dollar, breaking up the monopoly, making sure you get more that's due you in an insurance policy, making sure everybody competes for your dollar. That means hospitals, providers, pharmaceuticals. We need tort reform. These are all aspects that we need to return to the patient-doctor relationship. And, you know, one of the things that we've seen, Kevin, is when we take the message about the principles that we've instilled here and take it to America, because we need to get their permission. Our healthcare system is very personal to America. So the principles that we've put together in this bill, we need to take to them, see what they like, do they want to change, taking pre-tax dollars and putting them in their pockets and letting them be the stewards of their own healthcare system and their safety net. You know, people, when they hear that, they're like, oh, you're serious? And we're like, absolutely serious. You know much better what your healthcare system should look like, the provider of your choice, and making sure that you have a responsibility to be the owner of that. And that's exactly where it's gone. We've seen, you know, overwhelming responses to it and people embracing it. So this is an opportunity. It's right around the corner. We're going to see the Supreme Court have to pick up these exchanges with these subsidies, and that could be a death blow here shortly.
You've certainly answered the bell when it comes to your constituents. I mean, a long list of accomplishments over these couple of terms here in the House. You saved Willow Beach Fish Hatchery. You've slashed appropriations. Are those two of the things you're most proud of? And what else have you accomplished, and what are things that you really want to work on as you move forward to another term?
Well, the biggest thing that we do, Kevin, is that we always start a term by listening to the people. You know, what hurts, how can we help? You know, going back to my roots as a healthcare professional. Because people are going to tell you where government is overstretching and where they're dictating erroneously to the American Main Street. And what we try to do is engage them. And we found a collaborative partner in that, is listening to people, letting them speak up, taking their ideas, developing them, and giving them a voice that has some bite. When we decide that we're going to take something on behalf of our constituents, we hold on, we debate that, we give the facts. We're very persuasive about that, and we're tenacious. We want to make sure that we're going to get our stuff done in regards to the people back home and the people in the state and this country. And so the biggest thing is building collaborations with the people on Main Street. That's been our biggest success model, because people go, you know, we can work with Congressman Gosar. He listens, he engages, he gets us to work together as a team, and teams always beat the eyes.